Hello, and welcome to Up Close and Personal with Inelia Benz. I'm your host, Helene Lipson. For our listeners not yet acquainted with Inelia, she was born in Chile and entered this world directly from source energy without any karmic debt, and she came into this life with a sense of knowingness on a pure mission. Her soul's purpose is to raise the vibrational level of the planet to a critical point that will allow a transitioning into the new paradigm, the new level of awareness for everything, for the planet and everything in it, every rock, every insect, every person. And to do that job, Inelia is a spiritual catalyst, awakening those asleep, helping those already aware to reach a higher vibrational level. And she's even traveled to different geographical areas in various ways for the sake of cleansing it so that the vibration can come through properly. Today, we will talk to Inelia about her deep connection to our Mother Earth, Gaia. We'll learn about some of her practices to stay grounded and connected, as well as some of her perspectives about how our planet came into being and the life forms that exist here. Hello, Inelia.
Hi, so good to be back.
Oh, so good to talk to you. I would like to start by hearing about your experience and your connection with Gaia, the Earth, as a living, breathing entity.
Yeah, the connection is a really interesting one because I never really felt very much connected to Gaia in any particular way. I did love the countryside. I loved nature, and for a while I lived in the countryside with my grandmother. And I would go out into the fields and just sit there. And in a way, it was a very unconscious, or I didn't have the distinction of saying I'm connecting with Gaia now, right? It was so natural. It was just there. But that very powerful connection of really communicating with Gaia as an entity, that came in much later when I could say even just a few years ago when she came back really at a conscious level. But before that, it was very much, very subtle, very energetic. It was a very subtle thing, and it was more to do with, for example, a particular tree or an animal or a field or a meadow. It was very much individual aspects or elementals from Gaia. And the connection with Gaia herself didn't come in until 2010.
So before that, it was mostly like you just observing the beauty of nature or connecting with animals. And then what happened in 2010 for you?
There was an incident or like a very particular thing that happened. While I was having my meditations, I would see this Native American lady, and she was quite small, very dark. She didn't have front teeth, and she would look at me and she would say mushrooms, right? And eventually I copped on that she wanted me to take those nature's hallucinogens that people have, and they are actually mushrooms. And I said, no way, Jose, I'm not going there. There's no drugs going into this body, right? So I completely refused to do it. And she continued to insist. I mean, she kept popping up all the time, and that's all she would say. She would say mushrooms, and I would continue saying, no, it's not going to happen. And to cut a very long story short, there was I have a back issue that sometimes there's like an energy block or injury there that will play up sometimes when I'm doing too much. And normally it comes in the mornings, but if I'll sit into it, like I'll sit into meditation and go into that pain and allow it to exist and expand, it will release, it will go away. Anyway, there was a day when it was quite powerful, the pain was, and I sat down and I went to do that, and instead of it releasing, it said ER. So for me to go to the ER, and I said, no way, that's not going to happen, because I don't even take aspirins, right? I don't go to the doctor unless, it's like yearly checkup or something. And so that wasn't going to happen. But yeah, it just got worse and worse and worse. Around 5 o'clock in the morning, I was rushed into hospital. My body had gone into shock from the pain. So they pumped me with a ton of different chemicals. The first one they tried was morphine. It didn't do anything. Then they tried something else. And the third one they tried, the whole thing just wham, it went away. The pain went away. And she appeared right in front of my face in my inner eye. No, like it wasn't like physically appeared. And she said, mushrooms, like with a big smile. And I thought, oh my goodness, that's not right. If I had known that it was this important, I would have taken them. But anyway, what happened was I got a huge download from Gaia, and it felt very much that the information that came through was that the energy of Gaia had gone into like a sleep, so that we could have, as a species and the planet, because she was having the same experience, have a dual light-dark experience. In order to have a light-dark experience, the person has to be asleep. And she came in really powerfully that she came back. So she was again here consciously. She was here in a very conscious manner, and that she was giving power back to women. So that threw me into a huge investigation after I got better, after the toxins left my body. It took 3 days of being exceedingly sick. And once I got better, I started investigating. And yeah, and then so that was a very, very powerful experience with regards to Gaia. And it was interesting that she wanted to do it through one of her pharmaceuticals, one of her own chemicals. When I investigated the chemical they gave me, the very last one, it is actually extracted from mushrooms. So yeah, it was interesting. Or I don't know if it was mushrooms, but one of a plant. Like I think it was mushrooms, but it was a plant that it was extracted from. And so that was a very, very powerful experience of feeling her here, and feeling my body had a huge reaction to it, because obviously my body is from Gaia. All our physical bodies are from Gaia. Even if we have genetic material from other species or ETs, our physical bodies, our daily physical bodies are from Gaia, because we ingest matter from Gaia every single day to keep it alive. Unless we've stopped doing that, unless we're talking about a breatharian or a sun gazer, somebody, or other practices that you don't no longer need to ingest physical material to keep your body alive. It actually is one of our physical bodies are part of Gaia. And my physical body remembered that disconnection that happened several thousand years ago. And the sadness and the abandonment feeling from it. And then when it came back, it remembered that reconnection and coming back, and the ability for the physical body to communicate with Gaia directly. It remembered all that. So it was a huge reconnection. Now there was another instance as well when I had a very deep connection with Gaia, and it was, funnily enough, it was after watching the movie Avatar. I'm sure you're familiar with the movie Avatar.
Sure, yeah.
Right. And it was several things happen. Like normally when an entity, whether it's Gaia or higher self or one of our guides, wants to communicate with us, we will get lots of messages from different locations that are actually the same message. Right? The same message, but it comes in through different locations. And I talk about this on my website at ascension101.com. There is an article about it. And so I was watching the movie, and after the movie, there was like that remembrance at a very physical and emotional level of the physical body saying, I remember a time when we as a species, or we as individuals, the physical bodies, would connect with Gaia at that level, the same level that they show in the movie. And there was like a longing and a remembrance. And I sat with it and I thought, I wonder if this is true. I wonder if this is like physically we can do it again, right? And I sat with it in my morning meditation the next day. I sat with it, and then when I was meditating, I was looking, not looking, but I was facing a window, looking out the window. And then when I opened my eyes, I think it was after my meditation. It could have been after I sat in my desk. I can't remember exactly when it happened, but it was very close. It was still in that moment, in that feeling. I look out the window, and there's the biggest, hugest hawk that I had ever seen in my life, sitting on top of a tree in my yard. And I live in a suburb in Sacramento, so that's quite unusual. It was huge. It was enormous. And I thought, oh my goodness, well, if a guy is trying to talk to me, then that's certainly a very big message. And I went into the feeling, I went into that connection, and it was really powerful. I felt it in every cell of my body. My entire being felt it, that connection with Gaia. And I actually, because this is my first life here, I wasn't actually familiar with it at that level because I'd never been in a body with that connection. My body remembered it, and my body was overwhelmed with that emotion and that love and that support. But I, as a construct, as an individual, the soul construct, wasn't familiar with it, and I pulled away, and I thought, "Whoa, that's intense."
Mm.
Yeah, and I didn't trust it, and I actually did not trust it.
That's incredible. Even from the beginning of that entire story with the mushrooms and then what happened with the back and then the symbols and signs from the earth letting you know about the synchronicity in the message, just intense. I want to go back to the message you got about the divine feminine or that more power would be given to women.
Yeah, the message that I received was that basically it's a very physical level. Again, the soul or the spirit does not have a sex. It's not male or female. It's actually the individual singular construct that has a sex or a gender. And then sometimes the construct of gender matches the physical body and sometimes it doesn't, right? And so those are all very independent from each other. And the message that came in was that many thousand years ago, women and the physical body of women are power. They are power. They're not, they don't channel power. They don't will power. They are power. And what happened was that that had to be severed in a way women handed power over to men. And men are not physically power. They're a construct, right? And when you match the two, when a singular person, balances out and is completely open to having both male and female, their masculine and feminine energies within themselves, power really has the structure to be able to function in a 3D dimension in a very healthy way. But what happened was that the species and the planet wanted to experience all matters with regards to power, which is also not having power, abusing power, wielding power, using power in a positive manner, using power in a negative manner, and all these type of things, power over others, that type of thing. So it wanted to have all these experiences, which is basically the light-dark dual experience. So what happened a few thousand years ago is the handing over of power from women to men. That's what happened. And it happened in a way that took a few generations, took about 2 or 3 generations for it to completely be handed over. And the way it was done, the way it was done, it was women handed over power. Women really were the engine behind the handing of power over to men, and the ones that really, as a species, took the decision to have this experience. And one of the things that happened was I was wondering, why on earth would anybody do that, right? And so I got all sorts of information after that, and that's a whole different story. But basically, what happened in 2010 was that Gaia came fully back online, consciously came back online, and handed power back over to women. And So this is when a huge amount of women started to wake up, and men also, because we're talking about every physical body has equal amounts of male, female inside of them. When the fetus is formed, they don't have a sex, they have both male and female potentiality. And it's within the womb that the body decides which way it's going to go, or something takes the decision. And then one set of sexual organs starts developing, and the other set starts receding.
Hmm.
But before that, they have both at equal amounts. And sometimes people, they have both, and they're born with both, right? In equal amounts. They're both fully developed. Both sexual sets of organs are fully developed. And then all sorts of messes come up when, the parents try to do the right thing
Mm-hmm.
and remove one of them. And often, sometimes happens that they remove the wrong one. And sometimes, it's like, obviously they shouldn't have done that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so we all have both, but one of them is like the alpha one, and the other one is the beta in a physical way. And we all can work at both of ours and really integrate the energies. And then we have both. We have power, we are power through our feminine side, and we are structure through our masculine side.
Wow. Incredible information you're sharing today. I'm thinking also, though, about a meditation you did online, and it's even on your site, ascension101.com, where we are looking at the earth, where we're actually seeing all the waters clean, we're seeing the earth clean, fresh air for everybody to breathe, clean water out of the tap. When we do a meditation like this collectively, I'd like to know first how you came up with this particular meditation. I'd like to hear how this came to you, and also the impact that it has when all of us do such a meditation together.
Yeah, the impact is that our construct as a human being, our humaneness, our human construct, the physical body, which are independent from us, they're elementals, they're earth beings, and our soul or spirit that comes into that body, which is eternal and doesn't really need a body to survive or live or exist. When those two join, we create a kind of machine, you could say, that creates the physical world. It creates the physicality, the expression of divine energy in a physical level, at a physical level. And when a human being concentrates or looks at something, they create it. They literally create it. If you focus on something very much, that's what you're going to create. And it's very, very specific. So when us as a species, and the meditation came through, it just comes through. It was a request by Gaïa and the higher council, not the higher council, the planetary council came in with that request, and they said the words basically, and I was just tapping into that. But basically, when you have several hundred, several thousand people doing one meditation throughout time space that has a look and sees the earth clean of pollution, for example, we create that. We literally create that, and we bring in whatever technologies, support, or beings that can help us accomplish that. But we as a species have to make sure, we as a species have to take the decision and do it, basically.
Incredible, incredible information you've shared with us today. Thank you so much. Is there anything that you'd like to say on a closing note about your connection with Mother Earth, Gaia?
Yes, one of our things that we can all do, it doesn't matter if you think you're from another planet, because your physical body isn't. Your physical body's star is the sun, and your physical body's planet is the earth. Even if you have, if you're a hybrid, if some hybrids are listening in and they know they have genetic materials from other planets, the main building block, even if the genetics are from another planet, the building blocks is from Gaia, is from this planet, and the body is from Gaia, is Gaia's baby. To really sit and allow the physical body to reconnect with Gaia, and you can do it in baby steps by reconnecting to a plant, to an animal, to a tree, to the sky, to the sea, to a stream, to a river, to something that represents earth to you, to a rock, to a crystal, and reconnect and have the intention to reconnect, to have the intention for your physical body to reconnect with Gaia. And you will do a huge, huge service to both your physical body, to Gaia, and to our species.
Beautiful, beautiful closing message. And thank you so much, Inelia. And thank you to all of our listeners as well. This is Up Close and Personal with Inelia Benz. I'm your host, Helene Lipson. Till we meet again, love, light, and blessings to all. Namaste.